live from the Bardo. It's another episode of the Flaubert Report. All the news you never heard before. Hi there, folks. It's Flaubert again, coming to you live from the Bardo. And you know, I'd like to say a few things about the kingdom of heaven today, because the perspective from the Bardo is unique, and you may not have heard anyone speak of it before. Now you know that I, Flaubert, was privileged in one lifetime to walk with the Christ. My legs are very short, and it was a hard path to travel, for he took great strides at every instant, and even the smallest of them seemed to span galaxies to a tiny dog, such as myself. It was most difficult to keep up with him at times. Nonetheless, God and the universe worked betwixt the two of them to ensure I was up to the task, for no boy should be without a dog to guide him. During our time together, Jesus said much about the kingdom of heaven. In fact, he walked with his right foot in it at all times, and only used his left foot to walk on earth. How he managed this could not be seen by the world of men, for they are almost to the last one of them perpetually blind of spirit. But it was obvious to any other creature, including we dogs, because each creature on earth aside from man can sense the kingdom of heaven within themselves with relative ease. It was for this reason that all of creation, aside, as I've explained, from men and women, could instantly see the nature of Christ as he walked among them. Christ was creation itself. And this is what I'd like to try and explain, passing it on, however, in a form a bit different than the way Jesus organically transmitted it. I am doing this because creation has been much in my own sensation and on my mind of late. Occasionally, it has even crept into my feelings. I say this not in the ordinary sense in which you hear the word creation. That's because there's nothing ordinary about creation in the sense I'm invoking it in. It is ordinal in the sense that it is ordered and perceivably of a taxonomic nature, although that taxonomy is cosmological and essentially infinite. But it isn't ordinary. It does not emerge from this order it coexists with. It does not emerge from this order. No. This order emerges from it. In any event, what I mean to get to here is that creation is an immediate creature, a perceivable event of the moment, and the things it's producing at every instant are extraordinary. Let us return to this word ordinary and its brethren again. The word extraordinary is meant to refer to that which lies outside the known or perceived order. And yet all of the arisings around us, which lie well within the perceived cosmological order, so much so that we can weigh and measure them, have a perceived nature which is far greater in its essence than the creation they emerge and exist within. That is to say, creation exceeds itself in every instant. The whole point of sensation and presence, as they are to be understood in their sacred natures, is to actively dwell within that. Perhaps that's because creation is, as we encounter it here on this level, material. And yet to any plain fool with eyes to see and skin to touch and ears to hear, it's clear enough. There's more to it than the thing itself. When Jesus was present, scales tended to spontaneously drop from eyes, and folk caught a glimpse, just a glimpse, mind you, of the kingdom. The more to it. The kingdom I refer to here is not at all a stuff or a thing, but an intelligence. That is to say, within the scope of a certain fineness of vibration, an ineffable undertone, a hint of harmonic. One actually senses the divine intellect behind creation. The kingdom cannot be embodied in the things we see because it does not naturally belong in or come from bodies. All bodies, from worms to men, and elements to stars, are temporary conveniences it has adopted for use for lack of a better medium. This is in fact scientifically true, if we view the cosmos from a quantum point of view. No one knows why the soup we live in becomes nuts. Yet the intelligence inherent to it can become self-evident in a sensory way if all three brains are working together. For lack of a better expression, then, let us henceforth refer to creation in its inseparable singularity as the kingdom of heaven. Both these words long post-date Christ's Aramaic. They're Germanic in origin. King is from the classically German König, and ultimately related to the root kin, meaning relation or relative, denoting a blood bond, if you will. Heaven is related to the German Himmel, or sky. In this way, we derive a rough approximation of the kingdom of heaven as a blood relationship ruled by the sky or stars. Light lies at the root of all of this, of course, and yet it cannot be seen of itself, although thereby we see. In a later century, the Armenian mystic G.I. Gurdjieff was to call up mysterious, otherworldly words for that blood of the cosmos, Etherokrylno, the quantum vacuum, and Handbled Zoen, the medium in which it concentrates itself. Astral blood, blood from the stars, the stuff of the kingdom of heaven, a blood bond that ties us to the stars and to light itself. Jesus used Aramaic words. Kingdom was Malkuta, and heaven was Shemaya, which roughly meant sovereign action in the realm of the cosmos. In other words, as he explained it to me, he was trying to indicate our inner cosmological relationship. It was and is a matter far more mysterious than all the literal understandings we accidentally graft onto it. So, I shall try to explain it better. Yes, the kingdom of heaven within is in one sense the created world and all that is in it. Yet it is equally more than the created world, because the place of residence of creation is within the divine intellect that has created it. We exist here in every moment in the mind of God, which is within us now. We are already there. And in this exact sense, the kingdom of heaven is indeed within. For God is within us, and we are wholly inseparable from him. Once I helped Meister Eckhart grasp the gist of that, almost all his later sermons tried to come to grips with this idea. We have only those later sermons nowadays because he threw all the rest of them into the fireplace on the night of his astonishment. The kingdom of heaven is the active and divine intelligence within all of creation. It's a single force, not force divided as in the material parts of creation. Rather, the intelligence flows everywhere, out of all things and into all things at the same time. It is alive within us. This ever-flowing, this eternal action is the sovereignty, the authority. Such is the kingdom. If even once we sense this, the world becomes much less explicable than we ever thought it. Yet within even the slightest hint of a taste of the divine intellect at the very back of our tongue, said taste can be sensed from that location and nowhere else. Everything is already understood. It is simply understood by the part of our intelligence that thinks without words. The empty part. If you should see this, you'll see nothing else, for it is the only thing that's actually there. Then you will have a single eye, and the whole world will be filled with light.